Let's start by talking about the challenge set by targets around this transition to a low carbon economy.
So what do you include and what do you not include?
Solar, biofuels, wind.
How those new and emerging technologies are accelerated down that pathway.
Everybody needs to take responsibility for cutting their own emissions.
Mark, thanks for joining me today to talk about innovation. Would you like to say something about how those new and emerging technologies are accelerated down that pathway?
Let's start by talking about the challenge set by targets, especially at the European level. The UK has a target of achieving 15% of its energy from renewable sources by 2020, and I think it's worth acknowledging that that is a massive step change away from where we are currently. We get something like 2% of our energy from renewable sources at the moment, and that includes technologies like onshore wind, but in fact, as you rightly say, there are a whole range of low carbon technologies, not just in terms of energy supply, but in terms of managing energy demand, that we must make use of if we are to have any chance of meeting both our renewable energy targets and our carbon reduction targets. So really, to achieve this huge sort of eightfold increase we need in renewable energy supply, we need to do two things really. First of all, we need to make as much use as we can of currently available technologies, perhaps things like offshore wind, because we can do so much more to scale up the deployment of these technologies. But as you rightly highlighted, actually a bigger challenge in many ways is the fact that we must accelerate the development and the use of new, innovative, low-carbon technologies, both to generate and use energy more efficiently. So examples like marine energy, wave and tidal energy, or the next generation of solar technology, those are ideas which we believe have got significant potential in the period to 2020 and beyond, but we need to do more to accelerate those, and that's what the Carbon Trust innovation programs are aiming to do.
So tell me how does the Carbon Trust actually do that?
Well, the Carbon Trust sees innovation as a series of journeys, and really you can think about the progress you need to make from an early stage idea, perhaps coming out of an academic laboratory situation, and the whole phase of activities that goes from that point and through until you have a commercially viable product, hopefully on a global scale. And really we think of that activity in a series of different journeys. First of all, there's the journey the technology itself needs to make, and that is progressing through an early stage prototype, through a development of a technical concept, to deploying that into the field, to seeing that technology used in the real world, in real people's houses, in real business environments, and finally to seeing that really emerge as a commercially viable, technically proven product.
It really does sound, the kind of thing you're doing here is a holistic approach to innovation, rather than what you often hear about is innovation is just about research and development, and you're quite clearly like dispelling the myth on that one.
Yes, I think one of the unique things about Carbon Trust and our innovations work is it takes a holistic approach, as you say. It spans that whole life cycle and looks at every facet of the challenges and I guess the barriers that face low carbon technologies as they move to market. Now, there are a range of different players in the market that look to support the deployment of low carbon technologies, and I think there's a good deal of collaboration that we and other bodies have together to really help what we see as our core mission, which is driving this transition to the low carbon economy for the UK. But actually, as you say, the Carbon Trust is unique. So for example, for early stage technologies, we have two different approaches of engaging with exciting ideas. We have a reactive approach. We run a competition 3 times a year, going out to industry and saying, come to us with your innovations, and we look to see that they are genuinely a breakthrough and they can save carbon, that there's a route to market, and that they have the ability to make it happen. We also are very well aware of very key challenges where the UK must make progress in terms of accelerating low-carbon technologies. And so therefore we use a directed approach where we identify a priority area and focus on what we can do to galvanise activity in that space. So a great example of that is our work in what we're calling the next generation of solar photovoltaic products. So solar is obviously an incredibly attractive low-carbon technology, but to date it's been far too expensive. And that's because the technology is based on silicon, a raw material, and a manufacturing process that's expensive fundamentally. Now we're working with Cambridge University and the Technology Partnership on a new solar product which has the potential to radically reduce costs and basically be manufactured and produced in a way that could really compete with conventional sources of electricity generation. So that really would be game-changing. That's taking an idea like the next generation of solar and really saying, what can we do to unlock this? And in this case, it's looking at organic PV technology.
I wonder if I could turn to what is generally known in the trade as the Valley of Death. because many commentators regard the Valley of Death as being an inhibiting factor which has been around, some would argue, for far too long in the British energy innovation scene. But your technology accelerators seem to be a great way of addressing Valley of Death. Would you like to give us an example of one of those projects that's ongoing at the moment?
Certainly. Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, there is this Valley of Death that exists between the public funding for early stage research and perhaps the commercially attractive funding that comes in from the private sector towards the end of that journey. And in fact, many good ideas could get lost somewhere along the way. And really what that comes down to is a range of different barriers. And they're not just about the technology. You can have a technology that's been proven, but actually the barriers could be a lack of understanding about the costs or the performance of a technology. That's often seen. And so one of the best ways of addressing that is really to accelerate the deployment and the demonstration of technology in the field. So our technology accelerators in the Carbon Trust are designed to work with sectors and technologies where we think there's real potential and real promise for a sector that can save significant carbon and really make a breakthrough from a UK perspective, but is being held up and progress is impeded. And I think what's exciting is that people globally are waking up to the fact that not only is the development of low carbon technologies just an incredibly attractive market and technology opportunity, but they're realizing that there are ways in which organisations like the Carbon Trust that have taken a unique approach to this that can actually be replicated globally. So I would certainly hope to see some of our activities in innovation and supporting innovation replicated on a wider scale globally over the coming years. And I think that's absolutely vital because, of course, this is a global issue.